ask me in the Instagram, in my direct messages, how do I find the things to draw? So that's basically was the question. And yes, there are a lot of times when I wake up and I actually don't know what to draw, or I just don't have this creative energy in me, you know. But there are a lot of times when I need to meet the deadline with a commission, or I need to submit a task. So I really don't have a choice. And this is the technique that I would like to share with you guys. Once I did a project in Kuala Lumpur, I did a 6-meter canvas, and I used this technique to draw it alive the whole day at the launch of the event. Everyone contributed, it was super fun, we had a great time, and the outcome was amazing. So get your pen, get your paper, and maybe some colors, and let's get rolling.
I'm using a watercolor paper that is 200 grams and it's a very smooth one. And you can use the same, or you can use any paper that you have at home. The only advice I can give you is please don't use the print paper because it's really thin and the artwork will not look nice. So if you notice how I'm holding the pen, I'm holding it in a very loose way. So my grip is very close to the top part of the pen instead of the bottom part, how you'd usually hold it. So I suggest you do the same. Then I start by drawing humans out of my memory. I don't have any reference, but you are very welcome to have, just because I did it a few times before, I kind of have that memory of different people with different heads and different looks and different hair. But until you build that vocabulary, you actually very welcome to use any reference that you find. But you're not trying to copy, you're trying to do it in a loose way, pretty much keeping your pen on the paper all the time. So what I mean by this is that you're not taking the pen off the paper to draw any details or to do any additional marks. I do leave it off the paper sometimes, just not to make it messy, but otherwise I kind of draw everything in one stroke, as you can notice. So I keep filling the page with this black ink, which is a Kuretake. It's a Japanese brand, but you can use any other one. This is just the one that I had. And as you notice here, I'm trying to get into details just because I get bored. So I kind of like add a little bit of details here and there, but nothing too detailed yet. So you just keep doing it, and then the more people that you find, the more different they are, the more fun it actually is. So think about different characters. Think about someone from the shop. Think about someone from your office. How are they dressed? What do they wear? What kind of they have? Do they have glasses? Do they wear a hat? Do they slouch? You know, do they have a straight figure? Are they slim or not? And then thinking about all these details will kind of bring a little bit of creative juice that you actually need. After I filled in about half of the page, just start getting a little bit distracted, getting into small details, and my details are usually very simple. It's dots, small circles, stripes, so I really keep it simple, but you can go as wild as your imagination allows you. And then I add a little bit here and there, and I continue to fill in the page. So the more characters you have, the more interesting the page looks, because it's really interesting to look at. And again, here I want you to remind that it's an exercise. Yes, you can have a final product that will look nice, but sometimes you will not have a final product that looks nice. It just won't look nice. But what it just keeps you going, you know, it keep your creative spirit high. So once you create something, even if it's not amazing, but it's funky and you can do it together with your kids, it kind of brightens up a day. And then when you're done, or maybe halfway after that, you can carry on with actual creative tasks that you need to complete. So as you notice, I'm trying to separate the characters by adding a little bit of black so it doesn't look so empty. So I add a little bit of black here and there. and then I add some color. I'm using Ecoline, but you can use anything else. You will see later how I'll use other materials. The thing with creativity, I find it's like a muscle, right? So you train your creative muscle, and if you exercise every day, it gets stronger and stronger. So it's easier to find what to draw, or even in this silly exercise, it's easier to come up with different characters if you do it often enough. So whatever you choose to do, just make sure that you do it consistently. And it basically means consistency in everything equals results. So here I'm adding blue, and I'm using a posca pen. I think it's a more budget version of actual posca pen, but this is something that I found in a shop. And I'm using red and blue, and then here I keep going and adding a little bit more details. So what I actually intended to do was to fill up both pages, but then I got really busy, and then this is all I've got. So here are the markers of my son, and if you see, my friend joined me in coloring as well, so it's actually quite fun to do for everyone. And this is my favorite part, is like to add details, to add some color, and make sure you keep the balance. What I suggest, if you put a pink on your left side of your drawing or of your piece, then put some pink on the right side as well. Maybe not as much, for example, but like at least add a detail in pink. This will balance your composition and just the artwork really nicely. In between of coloring the characters, I also add small details in the small gaps between the characters, just to balance the composition. And I usually add simple stuff like circles again and triangles, and then I use different colors to do them. Sometimes I will fill in the empty space with just blocks of color and then add some details. You will see how I do it later. And just keep looking at your artwork, and you will be the best person to decide when to stop, when it's actually finished and when it's not, so if you want to add something more. What I think, the more details the better, but it's not a usual approach to art, they say. So I really like to look and to find some small things, some small dots, and I have some big art pieces in my house where I look and I always find something new, so I find it's really entertaining. So if you're like me, then probably you will enjoy adding a lot of small details. After a little bit of color, I go back to my black pen. This is another pen, but it's the same idea. It's a black gel pen, just a simple one from Kmart. And I take it and I add more details. So I took this, I go into this colored blobs that I have, and I add some dots or some triangles. And as you can see, I will fill in quite a few of them, and you can do the same thing if you want. And then I usually go between small triangles, small dots, circles, and then some lines. And I also have a white pen that I will use a little bit later.